Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Friday, and welcome to the second segment of our four-part series in a virtual facility tour of Wilbert's You Pull It in Williamson, New York. And joining me again this week, we've got past president of ARA, Jono Morrow, and the current president of Wilbert's You Pull It, Eric Wilbert. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I got to tell you, the first segment we did was very well received. A lot of great feedback, and it's been viewed almost 900 times since last Friday. So a great, and that's just Facebook. YouTube also had some views as well. So it was really good, and I appreciate you guys. I think there's a lot of good information there.
Well, the view counts, especially for Eric's hair, and Vince, probably yours as well. Not mine so much, but you guys are just so good looking.
Eric, your hair looks good. I'm just going to
say
that.
Thank you. Yep. Got it cleaned up for you this week, Vince.
I appreciate it. It's for the people. So let's get right to it. Well, today we're going to be looking at the first part of processing, how Wilbert's You Pull It processes a car. Last week, for all you who are watching, if you didn't see it, last week we covered the purchasing process, how Wilbert's You Pull It buys cars, where do they source their cars. They have a vendor program, a lot of really interesting information in there, and some fantastic questions we got from you guys about purchasing vehicles the way they do. So if you haven't seen that, when you get a chance, go back and watch it. You certainly don't have to have seen that to enjoy and get a lot out of what you're about to see, which is the first part of processing. Right off the bat, I want to thank Superior Recycling Solutions. They're sponsoring this segment. You'll see their one of their pieces of equipment as we watch this video. You're going to see their fluid depollution rack. It's phenomenal. It's one of those tilting machines that is really great. So we want to thank them for their sponsorship. If you need more information about their products, their contact information will be on the screen. So guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull us out. I'm going to put the video up, and then we're going to go from there. So just a second. Somebody should say something while I'm doing this, because I didn't time that very good.
Well, this is a great segment. I can tell you that it's split up into two parts because Wilbert's does it really well, and so I'm excited for you guys to see this segment. Make sure you ask questions to us, and if you have a question you don't get to ask during the segment, shoot ARA an email, and we'll make sure to get back with you.
Absolutely.
This is it. This is it. This is for production?
Yeah, processing.
Processing.
Yep,
there we go.
Yep. So
we got this processing set up here, and first off, I just before you even start telling me about this, I'm looking at these enormous doors because I was wondering how you got the cars in here to process.
Yep. Payloaders handle everything from the side. There's no long forks around here.
Okay.
It's all short forks, crushing forks, and side handling, just the safest way to handle these vehicles.
Sure, I completely agree with that as well. So what kind of system? What kind of system do you have set up here? And as we're walking over here, I see the guys have their tool benches set up.
Yep. So each processor. So there's one person on each lift here.
Okay.
And their tools are provided for them by the Wilberts. And
so Wilberts actually gives them an allowance, or they tell them what tools they actually give them the tools?
No, if they break a tool, just give it to me. I'll replace it. If you lost it,
really?
Tell me. I'll get you another one.
That's great.
So it's pretty simple. I mean, almost everything is metric. Your impact sockets, your shallows, deep 3/8, and shallow, then swivels. So basically, we're not really removing much other than converters. So we're ensuring that we're draining fluids and mercury switches, tires, lug nuts probably fight us the most, and go from there. But
and I'm looking at this workbench. These workbenches, I guess, also are provided by you, and they're set up one person per rack.
Yep.
Right. So you don't have two. There's not two people on each rack.
No, one person.
And they've each person has like a checklist. Is this how many cars they're doing that day, or they've done?
Correct.
And so what's on this checklist? We've got the stock number.
Yep.
And then what's let's walk through this real quick.
Yeah, so stock number, they record the stock number from the barcode sticker that is on the vehicle.
Which comes from Crush?
Yes, comes from Crush.
Okay.
That's generated from Crush. And then battery, was it there or not? And if unique circumstances, there might be more than one. AC evacuated, mercury switch, fluids drained, spare. I'm after the mini spare just for wheel stands.
Sure.
For obvious reasons. And then jack removed. We don't allow jacks in any of the vehicles that we put out in the yard.
Okay.
Nor do we allow jacks in the yard from customers. And then last thing, cats removed. And then if we are leaving a cat on, I want to know the location of it. So those tough to get manifold ones occasionally are left on.
Sure, and I think that, guys, this is important when you're looking at the tracking and controlling your processing is how are you knowing or verifying and putting accountability on the fact that the fluids have been evacuated, the freon's been evacuated, and we've made sure we've gotten all the spare wheels off, and the cats, and the number of cats. The data collection on that's huge, especially if you can go back and you've left any on the car, so that when you're going back to the true end of life of that vehicle, we're getting every penny out of that vehicle.
Yes, sir.
That's great.
Yeah. Yep. So, especially as the value of converters increases, tracking almost every single one, we're very close to tracking every single one throughout the entire stage of the process.
That's so critical.
Very important.
So then,
Yep.
so we've got the systems here. What's the company that you use for this?
Superior Recycling Solutions, SRS. They're
Okay.
out of New York, about an hour and a half south of here. So, but I know that he services the entire country.
And so the car comes in, it gets put in from the side.
Yep.
And then it's going to, the machine's lifting up. What's going on with the machine here?
Yeah, so first it will lift up to the desired height, and locks are automatic for safety reasons, obviously, but the work is performed. You can walk around the front of it when it's lowered, but as it's lifted up, you perform the bottom side work, meaning remove the cats first, but then get your fluids draining, your coolant, and then get your oils draining, four-wheel drives. Obviously, you've probably got 5 oils draining at once. But after you got your fluids draining, cats removed, it will rock the front of it, will drop down, and then you can tilt it right to left.
Oh, so get everything out that's like kind of tucked away in the corners of the transmission or whatever.
So the valleys, the crevices, especially coolant systems, and obviously your drivetrain. It's unreal. You could, if you wanted to, punch it, lift it up, let it drain overnight. You come in the next morning, we've done this for demonstration purposes, you start twisting, tilting, it just starts gushing out.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Roughly we recover about 30% more fluid from this system than any other.
So 30% more fluid gets recovered when you're using this system versus another traditional gravity-fed or pneumatics or suction system. And is this running off of an air compressor, or is this running off of
hydraulics?
So it's all hydraulics. So you don't have like a big taser compressor or something in the background.
No. So there's a decent-sized hydraulic pump that the whole system runs off of, and then we do have a nice screw rotary compressor as well that we utilize.
So these spray cans are for what now?
Marking tires.
Marking tires. Okay,
Yeah,
so they're going to mark the
pricing
tires.
Price and tires, and then we also, any converter that is left on the vehicle, we designate with a certain color. So our retail staff is trained just to look for a color of an exhaust piece instead of, hey, that's a converter, or hey, that's a resonator. They don't need to be trained on what a converter is. They just need to know if it's blue, that's a converter.
It's not going out the door. Yeah, it's not going to go out the door if it gets left on the car, right?
Exactly.
So how many cars, when you're going on this machine, how many cars can you push through here in a day?
We expect 30.
30 cars a day per unit, or
total.
So
15. Yeah, that's with one person on this. So you can obviously increase numbers. You can do some prep work outside.
Sure.
And you can also add a third person in here and increase those numbers drastically.
So when I looked under here and I saw that there's grates in the floor. So the fluid's getting hopefully taken and put into the correct bin, but there's going to be overflow. There's going to be spillage. Right?
Yeah. So actually, no, we're dropping. This is a 52-foot long by 7-foot drain pan that we're dropping oil and coolant into, and it's gravity fed from here into an oil water separator that is right next to our tank farm that we have in front of us.
So you also are getting the antifreeze out, like you said, the washer fluid's coming out.
Yep.
You've
Brake
got
fluid, power steering fluid, clutch.
it's all getting just taken out and handled the right way.
Correct.
Because so many people, unfortunately, are still trying to catch up to speed on how we need to handle our fluids in this industry.
Yes, sir.
Guys, it is critical that no matter where you're going in this industry, no matter how you're going to get there, that we do things environmentally correctly and in compliance. ARA has a specific modules that are out there on ARA University for you to know how to handle your fluids the right way the first time, and to not have anybody visiting your facility and finding things that you don't want to have them find. We need to be doing it correctly, and that means containment's correct, evacuation's correct, and that you also train your employees the correct way to do things when it comes to fluid evacuations. Eric, so I'm looking at this stuff. I see these awesome blue.
Yeah.
But what do you call it? It's like what do you call this thing? Hoppers.
Hoppers,
Yeah.
containers, yeah.
And you've got the quick attach.
Yep,
on
quick
these.
attach for our ACS couplers. We've
Yeah.
got 3 of them inside here right now. So eliminating touches, we're all about efficiencies and eliminating how many times you're touching that product. I know we alluded to it
Yep.
earlier, spoke about it directly, but if we can, work hand in hand with our employees or take their feedback directly from them,
Yeah.
how can we improve your process? This is one example that you spend some money with a local fab shop. The hard part is obviously the coupler for your equipment you're running, but
Yeah,
these
Vince,
work-
come look at this. Make sure this is something that I want to make sure that we're seeing this. We say quick attach, and that means a lot to some people. For some people, it may not make sense, but when we talk quick attach, we mean that your loader can come in here and it can grab this. You put a part of your loader piece up in here, and the 2 pins get driven down into these holes, and it's going to hold it in place. So if you don't have a quick attach on your loader, you're having to manually go out there, move the pins out, and it just takes time at the touch point, like we've already talked about. This is a huge savings in time, but it does cost money when you order your next piece of equipment or upfit your equipment you currently have. But these are invaluable. We use these at our facility, and it's just so nice to switch from buckets to forks to picking up any hoppers we may have in place. And you've also got the skids on the placed on the bottom, I guess, if a forklift is going to pick it up.
Yeah,
right?
so they're handled, put in place with a forklift or a pallet jack. So if the employee is not trained on the forklift, they can still get this to the appropriate location to get dumped and brought back to be
So
restocked.
dumped. So these are getting filled up with steel. I see one. We got aluminum in one over here, and you've got some copper wire. We've got in this one.
Yep.
And this is
Harness
obviously
wire.
our precious metals cats.
Yes.
Are in this one right here. These get filled daily. They get emptied out, or is this kind of like a?
No, this
As needed?
is emptied. Yeah, we'll say depending on the processing and production where it's at, as needed. So as a Gaylord box is filled, then it's put into a different space that's more secure. So
Gotcha. This is great. So I'm looking at this. It's clean. You've got a facility that's clean. You've got all the appropriate things needed for people. You know, got personal protection in here. You've got guys wearing ears and eyes and helmets.
Yeah, so we have safety policies, 4 standard policies that every employee signs off on. One would be hard hat, eye protection, safety toe, and then glove hand protection as well. So
are they? So is that an allowance system from I know the Wilberts, you guys provide tools.
Yep.
How about the systems and what they're wearing, the helmets?
So all PPE is provided except for footwear. We do reimburse 50% of that, up to $250 annually.
For all employees?
For all employees.
And across the board?
Even accounting.
Really?
Or processor, dismantler, doesn't matter.
That's great. That's an awesome setup you have. So the cars are coming through. They're coming in here 15 cars a day per lift. The spare tires are coming out. The jacks are coming out. You've got wire. You've got catalytic converters. You've got these wheels I'm looking at here that happen to be in the processing plant are actually coming from the yard after they've lived their life in the yard.
Correct.
Okay.
So these are off of vehicles that live their life out in the yard. As we remove vehicles from the yard, I'm recovering any aluminum wheels. And if it's a $20 tire, as we deem it or higher, we're saving it.
Which is the spray paint, right? So this is the spray paint we got right here. So
Yep.
yellow is a certain dollar value, you said, right?
Yep. So yellow is 20, but if the member, the staff member doing it deems that the tire actually is not a $20 tire, so it's very subjective, obviously pricing. So I think we all know that.
But it's critical, and it's something that we notice at the B&R facility, and it's that Wilbert's is giving their employees the ability to make decisions that make the company profitable, right? They're empowering their employees to make decisions, and we need to be focusing on that at every one of our facilities, to not micromanage to the level of telling the employees exactly what to do, but teaching them and educating them so that you can allow them to do their job better and to make you more money.
For sure.
Right? That's the goal that we're all shooting for.
We're all here together.
And even this hopper is set up with a quick attach again. I like how it's lower to the ground.
Yep.
Because you've got tires you're working with, and I mean, it's a neat setup, and I like the way I like how you have it all. You have it in a way that it's easy to handle, and it limits touch points, it limits people getting hurt, and things are very easy to flow. Now, your antifreeze, that's a very massive tank.
Yes, they're 3,000 gallon double walled tanks.
Double walled, wow, okay.
Yep. So we got antifreeze, coolant, tomato.
Are these pneumatics? Are these pneumatically driven though, air?
Yes. Well, as far as for filling, but they're pneumatically filled with. You're standing on oil water separator.
So so everything from the SRS is flowing here.
Yep. So the drain pan that's in the floor. Is flowing underground, gravity fed into this oil water separator.
Okay.
And inside there's basically 3 tanks in here. The majority of it, which is the mixed fluids, and then the oil is skimmed off the top and drained into its own little holding area. That is regulated once it's filled, automatically pumps into the tank behind us, and then coolant, same thing, into the tank on the left. So
you said this facility also has the radiant floor heating, correct?
Yes.
So do you guys use a clean burn system here for waste oil?
Yeah, so we do have a waste oil boiler that we can hear running in the background, and we can show you real quick if you'd like to.
Yeah. So what is that heating the air system? Is it?
No, so it is just heating water that is running through, I think it's about 2 or 3 miles of PEX tubing.
2 or 3 miles of PEX tubing underneath the floor.
Yeah,
wow.
There's quite a bit of linear footage under here. So
the waste oil is being used to heat the radiant floor.
Correct.
Oh, I did not know that was a system.
Yeah, so one little tip that we've learned, that brake fluid is detrimental to waste oil in the seals, O-rings in that burner. So little tip trick.
Did you hear that? I want to make sure it's very clear. When we're separating our oils out, the brake fluid is detrimental to the clean burn system, right?
Yeah.
It's going to deteriorate your O-rings. It's going to cause your equipment to deteriorate faster than it needs to. So make sure when you're separating your fluids that you take care of what you're doing and what you're putting where. So that's great. That's a great point.
Yeah. So all brake fluid is actually sucked out. So we have our washer fluid tank up top.
Okay.
And then brake fluid, which is also power steering and clutch fluid as well. And then there is a third suction gun, which would be your coolant overflow reservoir, which is just piped right into the drain pan, which is gravity fed.
Where does Freon stuff? Where does the AC Freon go?
So Freon, I'm sorry, we skipped over that. We have 2 Appion is what we run.
Okay.
Yep, just vacuum pumps, and runs pretty well for us. So basically, R134A is what we see here. So we're not into the late model, the 1, 2, 3, 4 quite yet. So
this is the Superior Recycling Solutions SRS system is definitely top of the line.
Yeah, for sure.
And there are other options out there that will depollute your vehicle in the self-service field. Explore those options. A lot of them are good vendors at ARA, at our conventions and around the industry. So if you're interested in learning more about this system you see here, you can contact them. Say it again. What's the name of the company?
Superior Recycling Solutions, out of I believe it was Endicott, New York, close to Binghamton, New York.
So if you're interested in knowing more about that system, please reach out to them. And if you're interested in anything else, ARA will be happy to help you find out any other ways to depollute your vehicles in the self-service world. So this is great, man. So after the processing into things, what else? What's the next step? Where are we going?
From here, we should probably see what happens either in the yard, how we set them up in the yard, or what happens to them after the yard. So I think you're more interested in kind of after.
Yeah.
Maybe the nibbler.
Well, I do want to see the nibbler, but I think we should probably see the yard. See the yard a little bit, right?
sir. Let's go.
Let's do it. With
All right. Well, I certainly I thought that was a great video. I'm a little biased, but anyway, let's get to the Q&A portion of this. Any of you who were viewing this, we'd love to hear from you what you thought of what you just watched, and just put your comments, your questions right there in the chat or in the comment section. And if you have a question, we'll surely answer it. We've got some time to do that. So, Jonathan, what came to mind while you were watching it? You had a lot of great questions when we were there, and I'm wondering if you've thought of any more.
You know, I think when we look at a facility, you know, you're running a lot, Eric, your company's running a lot of cars to that facility. In the processing plant, 30 cars a day, 15 cars per rack. How often do you clean clean that building? How often do you guys keep that building clean? Is it a weekly thing? Is it a daily thing? What? Because we went through there and I thought we were going to have a picnic on your dismantling floor. So what do you do?
Yeah, good question. I think maybe we addressed that in a little bit later video, but cleanliness is definitely a priority. It leads obviously to safety as well, which is number one for us, paramount. But it's a weekly task every Friday. I think most people, you know, Friday they're ready for the weekend. So instead of trying to pound through production, we shut down a little bit early in all departments in production and just top to bottom, clean everything, prepare for Monday, and get ready for the new week. So, but it's also a good time to do your PMs, check everything, and we catch a lot of stuff before it ends up as a detrimental downtime, which is obviously costly to anyone. So,
yeah.
Absolutely.
So Jesse from Facebook has asked a question. He wants to know, what tool do you use to remove your cats?
Super Shear is who we utilize. Phenomenal, we'll say family-run business, and just a great product. So we've, between locations, mainly use the 110, 220 version, but we do have the 12 volt as well if needed. But phenomenal product, so highly recommend it. For some reason, I'm drawing a blank on the vendor's name, but I think Larry it is. So
You said Super Shear, right?
Super Shear, yeah. I think Larry at Super Shear.
Yeah.
Rodney, who's in New Jersey, wants to know what type of tire machine you use. I know that we talked about it. We never did actually show it. I don't think anybody was removing tires when we were filming.
I think they were all hiding from the camera, Vince, is the problem. But yeah, Rodney, thanks for the question. We're running coats mainly. We just introduced a second machine just to try to get through dismounts as quickly as possible. It's a dismounts is a battle for any U-Pullet. Obviously, you're after that aluminum. I would love customers to take every tire off my hands, but that's not the case. So coats, we usually run a pretty basic machine that you can get parts readily available for. But there's a lot of good manufacturers out there. But by no means am I saying you have to go with coats.
Hey, so here's a question, Eric, to follow up on that. When you got your customers getting tires and wheel, like they just want a wheel, right? Do you offer them the ability to dismount it themselves, or do you have a service charge to take it off the rim, or do they have to buy the tire in the rim and then bring the tire back?
So we offer the service charge. So we've talked about it for a couple of years now and haven't provided that the self-serve tools yet. I know that's definitely a common approach at the U-Pullets, but with the unique tire pricing we do in valuing them from $10 to $50, a lot of times that customer might only be after the wheel or tire. So for $5, we dismount that tire and let them buy just what they're after.
Sure.
Sandy Blaylock chimed in the comments. You were talking about the vendor for Super Shear. She put the name Larry DeMick or DeMike. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but that's your guy, right?
Yep. Larry's a great guy. I think he's got a son or two that's involved as well, and service after the sale, which is a topic as well with SRS. I mean, anything you buy, you always want service after the sale, whether you acquired it new or used. And Larry is phenomenal to work with.
And we use the same in the full service as well.
So Robert from YouTube, he wanted to know about the cost of the SRS system. Now, I don't know if you're comfortable or not. It's fine. What I would encourage Robert to do is reach out to Michael Kopt at SRS. I mean, you're obviously, you can answer that question if you want, but I know Michael Kopt at SRS would love to talk to him. You can reach them at sales@superior-recycling.com. But you can, however you want to handle that question.
Yeah, I think I would prefer Mike to quote. We haven't bought a complete system from him in a little while, but it's up there. It might be a little bit of a sticker shock at first, and there's other components that go to it that the suction gun, that separator. We're a strong advocate of just about everything he sells. We'll get into the gas punch, which we saw at the end of that video. We'll talk about in part 2, but it's equipment that if you're doing the volume, it's a worthwhile investment for sure. So 30 plus, I mean, we shoot for 30, but we can double that number pretty easily with just some manpower. So
yeah.
It's
and you said during that tour, you're averaging 30% more fluid out of the vehicles. That's a pretty big number. That's great. So Ryan from Facebook, he was asking about the manifold cats that you don't get on the SRS rack. What do you do with them?
Yeah, Ryan, it's a good question. So it's funny, those few comments I have here with prices, obviously the commodity market being as strong as it is, and even if it wasn't going in the swing, we still have upped our game, our aggressive, we'll say, recovery rates of these. That paper log that you saw Jonathan looking at and discussing, we've honestly done away with that. And everything is electronic now, and we are tracking every single vehicle, every single cat on that vehicle. But to answer your question here, we've increased how many we're recovering inside, which does slow down your output a little bit. However, I would imagine most people across the country are having a little bit of hardship, or cost of inventory has gone up, obviously. So with that being said, we have a little more time to recover them. We are recovering more inside, aggressive, but we're sensitive to the fact that we do not want to destroy inventory that customers are after. So we have implemented this year a yard technician at all of our self-service locations, and is out actively in the yard removing converters. And we have a few different ways to attack different vehicles, but put together quite a bit of knowledge, we'll say, on how to get certain ones off, and then what ones we cannot recover without a motor being pulled, or per se at end of life. Yes, the Kobelco nibbler is recovering them, but the amount that we're recovering at end of life has subsided tremendously in recent months with how aggressive we've gotten. So you're getting the majority of them at the on the SRS rack. Yep. You're getting some of them, most of the ones that can't get done there without damaging something else, that go out into the yard. You're getting them there, and then a very few of them are getting harvested at the nibbler. Suffice it to say, there's no cats leaving an end-of-life vehicle, leaving a Wilbert's facility when that vehicle is bailed. As you guys who are watching, you'll see next week when we cover that part, the cars get
picked apart with the nibbler, and then they get baled. But so no cats going out the gate unless it's in a bin, right?
Correct.
Very
Well, that's
good.
the goal. That's the goal. Just kidding. Just kidding. Of course it is.
So Robert from Facebook, he was curious about how many people do you have in your drain crew to drain 30 cars a day? We should have done a poll. I know. I know.
Yeah.
We should have done a poll. Because I bet people would have guessed more. But you've got 2 people, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. So it's one lift. It functions as one system, but there's 2 individual workstations. 2 people can get 30. Honestly, if you run one person on that, they can usually average high teens and even touch into the 20 mark. But to get more than that, you can easily introduce steps outside, getting lug nuts off, loosening batteries, cleaning out the trash. We call it staging outside. And then if you wanted to get even more aggressive, we add a 3rd person onto, we'll say that the drain crew, and that tremendously increases the output. So, but you have to be sensitive somewhat to just the time it takes to recover some of these converters as well, which is a delicate balance, obviously.
So Eric, and I think this is important. We looked at the fluids we recovered, and there's obviously one that we didn't show in this episode that's going to be in another episode, and it's gas, right? And so you guys handle it a different way. Your guys follow that car to the next station. Is that correct? So you don't have an additional person just doing gas alone. Those dismantlers or depolluters are still responsible for harvesting and taking care of the gas too. Is that correct in saying that?
Yep, that's correct. And I guess another thing to talk about is the time that they're working to drain those 30 vehicles. Our shift is 7 to 3:30. It's lunchtime is between a half hour and an hour, but we don't work overtime here. If we need to, we will. But the goal here before COVID was to start running shift work and limit that overtime. But it's all dictated on your purchasing habits. So, it's an efficient system, and we've done a lot of little tweaking. As the management team here loves to get their hands dirty to assist with streamlining the process. So
in our 4th segment, so next week is our 3rd segment. We'll handle the second part of processing as I explained, and then the week after that, I think it's the first week, Friday in April, we walk through your entire retail sales. And out into the yard where we'll see all the cars lined up, and we'll talk about spacing and all that stuff. And we'll see in that segment, in the retail sales segment, we'll see that you resell windshield washer fluid, you resell coolant, antifreeze, tomato, as you said. But Rodney wanted to know, what do you do with the Freon you recover?
Yeah, so the Freon we recover in the end of life vehicles. More common than not, customers are putting, we'll say, not the best Freon in their vehicles, or they have the can of fix a leak or whatever you call that stuff. So we attempted many moons ago to resell the stuff we recover. However, the value of R134A is just not there. And so we are paying a minimal fee to recycle those 125-pound tanks with a local HVAC supplier. I know you can run the smaller tanks. To be honest, we've even contemplated upping the size of the tanks as well. But you can get those from Wen Industries. I know is a strong supporter of our industry out of, I think, New Hampshire. But you do have to buy them in a larger quantity, I think 10 or 15. But yeah, so I would say if you have an outlet, you're selling, you're getting money for it, hold on to it for sure. So, but the quality of our R134 is just not there to reuse, at least in a repair shop per se.
Very good. We got a question from Kyle on YouTube, and he's asking about your the tool process, that you provide tools for your employees, and how you handle your tool inventory and your lost or damaged tools.
Yeah, very good point. So you provide the damaged tool, and I will replace it immediately. Equipment's cheap is a slogan that we repeat here a lot at Wilbert's. But as far as lost tools, it happens, obviously, very infrequent, and most commonly a tool is left on the dash or something, the cowl, I should say, but it doesn't happen nearly as much as you would think. Usually if a processor's leaving tools, they're reminded very quickly and repeatedly of what's expected of them. So, but no charge. It's sockets breaking a lot of times, and we have everything in stock ready to go.
Very good. Very good. Well, Jonathan, do you have any questions? We've run through our questions that we've gotten from our viewers, and unless you've got something more to grill Eric about, we can wrap this up.
No, I can hold some of those back for the upcoming episodes. But no, I think it's just evident that when you look at the Wilbert's facilities, that this facility in general, and you see what they put as standards, right? You had SOPs, and you've even, from when we did this video, so anyone who's watching this, we did this video in December of 2020. So now this is a live segment we're doing, and it's March of 2021, and they've already moved from paper to electronic, right? So what we've got is we've got continuous improvement within the self-service industry, and a lot of us look at the self-service segment of our industry as like, oh well, it's easier, and it's got, it's just push it through, slam it through. It's kind of messy and dirty, and it can be for a lot of people, but it's also capable of doing it at a different level as well, which we're seeing here. It's a thing where you can take yourself, and the ARA has a mentor program, right? We're always trying to figure out what we can do to be better, and I think this is an awesome platform to look at where we are as self-service participants in this industry, and say, hey, I do things really well, but Wilbert does things really well over here, and maybe figuring out how to get that cleanliness and the SOPs in place and the continuous improvement. Just really neat things that I've seen from Eric, and just hearing what you're changing from when we were there is great. And at this point, I'm just talking to talk because I got no questions asked to me, so I'm done.
Well, look, it's Friday afternoon. It is almost 5 o'clock on the East Coast. And I think this has been a very productive segment. I hope everybody watching has enjoyed it as much as we have. We enjoy bringing these things to you. At ARA, we look at this as just another way for us to serve the auto recycling industry, and we love to do it. So we hope you enjoy it. We want to hear from you. Because our intention is to continue to do this. We're not gonna jam up every one of your Fridays. We're gonna roll through this 4 Friday segment. After this, we'll be halfway done, and then we'll probably have another one coming out maybe once a quarter. So we hope you enjoy it. We want to hear your feedback, and if that's it, then we're just gonna wind this up. Jonathan, do you have something else to say?
Yeah, I do. And Vince, what email do you want people to reach out to if they've got a question? They can do it on the Facebook forum as well. But Is there an email you want them to say, hey, if you got a question about what we're doing or about our industry or about self-service, where can they go?
Yeah. So we are super easy to get a hold of. You can always email me at vince@a-r-a.org. If you want, you could put a comment in this, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. I see it. You can send a private message through Facebook to the ARA Facebook page. I get it. So, if you had something to say to ARA, you had a question, there's no excuse. We can hear you. We're here to hear you, and we want to hear from you. So
Awesome.
Thanks for asking that, Jonathan. But look, everybody, thank you so much. We hope you have a great weekend. And that is it for today. So we'll see you guys next week, same time, same place. Take care.
See you guys.